And in this week's headlines from around the military, is the future of the military more automated than you think? At a recent defense event hosted by Axios' Future of Defense Wing, former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Mark Milley, said he believes a major portion of the military could be an AI-driven robotic force. How big of a portion? Up to a third, he said, given the way things are trending. And this isn't in some distant technical future. Milley said transformation could come within the next 2 decades.
Say 10, 15 years from now, my guess is a third, maybe 25% to a third of the U.S. military will be robotic and will be, and this is land, sea, and air capabilities, and they'll be largely commanded and controlled and driven by AI-enabled systems.
And will this be additive, or you think 1/3 of today's personnel will be replaced by robots?
That's hard to say in terms of the actual numbers of people sort of thing, but
it's going to be a notable swath, clearly.
I think, it'll be a big change. It'll be a fundamental change. And I would argue that other nations' militaries are going to be similarly designed. But I think you'll see the numbers of human troops, right? Those will probably be reduced as you move towards robotic systems. So, like right now, for example, in the Middle East, Central Command is experimenting with robotic naval forces, surface and subsurface. The Air Force is experimenting with all kinds of unmanned fighter bomber type aircraft, not just the unmanned aerial vehicles that you see. The Army and Marines are experimenting with unmanned tanks and smaller vehicles that can be used in ground combat. But this is not yet here in the scale and scope, but it will be in 10, 15 years or so.
The former commander added that militaries worldwide are undergoing a major technological shift, and the nature of war is rapidly changing with it. And it's in the U.S.'s interest to be ahead of the curve when it comes to AI and robotics.
Combine robots, which will expand beyond drones to a pilotless Air Force, a sailorless Navy, a crewless tank, which is coming, in the next 10, 15 years sort of thing. Combine that with the enormous power of quantum computing and artificial intelligence, and you've got some real significant fundamental changes, and all those technologies are available to China, Russia, the United States, and many, many other countries. So the country that optimizes those technologies for military use is going to have a very significant and potentially decisive advantage in an armed conflict.
And in political news, the first military veteran since Senator John McCain is on a presidential ticket. Last week, former President Donald Trump selected Senator J.D. Vance as his running mate.
Donald Trump has picked J.D. Vance as his running mate for the 2024 general election. Trump made the announcement on Monday on his Truth Social platform. Vance was first elected to represent Ohio in the U.S. Senate in 2022. Vance once garnered national attention with his memoir, Hillbilly Elegy, where he described growing up in Appalachia. He's a graduate of Yale Law School and also a Marine Corps veteran.
Vance, a senator from Ohio, served in the Marines in the mid-2000s with a deployment to Iraq and worked as a combat correspondent and public affairs specialist. Next up, Chinese state television has released a video of joint naval drills the country conducted recently with Russia. In the footage, Chinese missile destroyers and frigates are seen in tandem with Russian vessels. The two forces performed coordinated movements and practiced security operations. The operation took place in the northern and western Pacific and is the fourth time the two countries have conducted joint naval drills since 2001. And from our allies across the pond, the United Kingdom is in the midst of deploying its most advanced armored vehicle to date. It's called the Ajax, and a little while back, the British Army put it through its paces in some harsh conditions in Sweden. Here's a look at the winter trials and reports from troops on how the vehicle performed in a snowy environment. Check it out.
I've been driving the Ajax armoured vehicle for a year now. Driving here in Sweden has been different to Salisbury Plain, which I'm used to, because obviously that's just like mud and fields, and this is the complete opposite. It's just ice and snow. If you touch one of the snowbanks, you quickly find out that you see the snow kicking up from the vehicle. It's been quite an experience. It's probably one of the best things I've done so far in my career.
My experience using these weapon systems have been pretty positive overall. For me personally, this was pretty much my first experience on a armoured fighting vehicle. Working with horses before this, it was quite a different role. Overall, on the trial here in Sweden, it's been fantastic. The weather conditions are, at times challenging. But to be fair, the heating inside the vehicle has managed to kick in and keep us warm.
So the trials lead on from trials that have taken place in the UK to test Ajax in these new conditions. Firing on the move has been very successful out here. The crews have been hitting targets, and it's also proven the progression of building up that crew confidence.
So to manage and ensure the trials are conducted well, it's a collaboration of different organisations, both military and also civil contractors. The biggest challenge throughout has probably been the weather and ensuring that we work dynamically. The expectations of Ajax have lived up. The capability and capacity of the platform, I feel, is on an upward curve, and that we're just starting to see what it can do.